Do you ever wonder why horror films are shot in the woods? Well, I can tell you. The audience feel a sense of danger, and they feel so isolated, and they feel like no help can come their way. The audience feel isolated and every sense is heightened. Today we are looking into the horror genre and finding out its secrets about its past, its present, and its future. Does the fear of horror films make you shaky and nervous of your surroundings?
Yeah, the fear of horror films definitely makes me shaky and fearful of my surroundings, as the character in the horror film is amongst all these scary and horrific things, and because of that I feel like I align with that character. So when I'm like in the cinema, or if I'm like watching it at home, if there's like a little creak of the floor or something happens, I'm like looking around like, oh no, is it something like happening? It's just so realistic, and you feel like you're in the horror film as well.
Research has shown that horror films are one of the most favoured genres watched by 37% of the population. Why do you think this is?
I think that horror films are favoured by 37% of the population because people love to be scared. It's that feeling of being completely on edge and like strapped away from the whole like reality of like the world. It just feels so thrilling and energetic and makes you feel so alive because your adrenaline is pumping and you feel so energetic. It's like why people enjoy like roller coasters and other thrilling things.
Research also suggests that horror films appeal to most young people aged 15 to 20. Why do you think this is?
I think that horror films like appeal to people at the age of 15 to 20 because it's that like feeling of rebellion that they get from watching it, as people from their age range haven't really experienced life to the full yet, like an adult at like 40 would, let's say. So they definitely haven't had that much horrific like fear in their life. So by watching the film, they're completely in a different scenario to their normal life, and it just makes it so much more exciting and thrilling. So the impact of the film is just so much better for them.
Do you believe that horror movies from the 70s and 80s have heavily influenced today?
I definitely feel like the horror films from the 70s and 80s have influenced like horror today. It's just a cultural thing. Like there was all these like reboots and stuff, like the new It that just came out. That was like a old film that has been taken back and remade. It's just all their storylines and how they were put together and the narrative is continued today, and that's why it remains to be so successful genre, because of the building blocks that these old 70s and 80s horror films have left for them.
Research has shown that 40% of parents allow their children to watch horror films that are too old for them. What do you think about this?
I think that parents shouldn't really let their children watch films that the certificate is too old for them, because it is there for a reason, and children I know can have like psychological like fears and things that they can like develop into their like older years due to these horror films. Like someone might see like say a spider crawl across the floor, but they might like be fearful of spiders like forever, but they don't know how, but it could be impacted by that film. So I think that definitely they should stick to the certificate age because it was put there for a reason.
Having gone deeper into the horror genre, we now know how it has evolved and how it is still changing today. We can't really predict what will happen in the future of the genre, but when can you predict a horror film?